Welcome back, everybody. It is Thanksgiving Eve, so today we're going to get this turkey ready to smoke tomorrow. I'm going to show you an easy brine recipe, the brine process today, and I'll follow up tomorrow with the second half to show you how to smoke a turkey. Alright, so to get this brine process started, we're going to mix up the brine solution. I have a 13-pound turkey that we're going to brine. If you're going to smoke a turkey, I would recommend not doing one that's much over 13, 14 pounds. Cooking one between 10 to 14 pounds is the best. It still feeds several people, and it's the easiest to cook, easiest to manage as far as your preparation time, brine time, and your cook time as well. You get into a 20-pound turkey, and you have some issues with it cooking all the way through, etc. The ingredients for the brine, there's a million of them out here. Here's the one that I have come up with that I'm going to use this year for Thanksgiving. I've got a pot on the stove right now boiling that's got 1 gallon of water in it. To that, we're going to add 1 cup of salt, 1 cup of brown sugar, tablespoon of ground coarse pepper, black pepper, 1 tablespoon of ground mustard, 1 tablespoon of coriander, 3 to 4 bay leaves, 1 tablespoon of thyme, and 1 cup of honey. I'm going to put all that stuff in, get it all boiled in together, and then we'll get the turkey in the brine. Large pot here with 1 gallon of water in it. Boiled to a rolling boil. I turned it off for a second so it doesn't fog up our camera here. This pot that I'm going to use is big enough to put the turkey in. So I'm going to get the brine ready and then let it cool down in the refrigerator, and then I'll be able to put the turkey directly in here. Put the lid on, put it right back in the fridge. If you don't have a large cooking pot this big, they make brine bags that they sell on Amazon that you can order. I'll put a link down below to those. You can also people use the large capacity Ziploc bags. You can also, if you have a clean cooler, you can just put it directly in there with ice. Bunch of different options. The important thing is it's got enough room for your brine mixture, and that when you put the turkey in there that you can fully submerge the turkey in the brine solution. And then the second part is that you can keep the turkey and the brine mixture refrigerated for about 24 hours. So I'm going to start adding in our ingredients here. Put 1 cup of honey, 1 cup of salt, 1 cup of brown sugar, tablespoon of thyme, tablespoon of coarse ground black pepper, 1 tablespoon of mustard, ground mustard, 1 tablespoon of coriander, and 3 to 4 bay leaves. I'll go ahead and mix that up a little bit with my beautiful Pioneer Woman spatula here. The reason that I've chosen this mixture of ingredients to make this brine for this turkey, there's a couple things. The flavor profile is going to penetrate into the meat through the brine process. Honey and the brown sugar complements turkey, chicken, really any poultry. The other reason is with the coriander, the mustard, thyme, and the bay leaves, that adds in those earthy tones to give you a traditional flavor. Next thing that we're going to do, I'm going to get the turkey out and we're going to put it in this pot. I'm going to let this cool down for a little bit here. One thing I want to mention when it comes to putting your brine concoction together. Always check the packaging on. Packaging says that there's salt already added, which would be for the preservation process. You want to dial back your salt amount and your brine. I normally would have added in 1.5 cups to 2 cups of salt into the brine solution. I dialed it back to 1 cup because you'll end up having too much salt. You don't want too much salt. So we've got our turkey out here. First thing you can do is take this little pop-up turkey timer out. You don't need that when you're smoking turkeys. We're going to monitor our internal temperature in the breast and the thigh to determine when it will be done cooking. I did thaw this in the refrigerator for 2 days. It's still a little frozen inside, which is okay because we are going to put this back in the refrigerator for 24 hours to complete the brine process. So it's going to continue to thaw during that time. You want to make sure you remove the little plastic holder thing there. Take out all of your innards. Use a little bit of butcher's twine here. Tie these legs together. Together just to hold everything in place. Go ahead and give our brine mixture a little stir. I've allowed this to cool. Then we're just going to set the whole turkey right in the brine mixture. Then we're going to take water to add in until the turkey is fully submerged in the brine solution. You want to make sure that cavity inside gets a little bit of attention too. Stick a bay leaf down in there. We'll add a little bit more water. And then I'm going to set a dinner plate with a refreezable ice pack on top of here before I put the lid on to hold the turkey down in the brine mixture completely. And then we'll put it in the fridge for, at this point, it's probably going to be about 18 to 20 hours. And then we'll come back tomorrow and show you guys the smoking process. Good morning and happy Thanksgiving from everybody here at Redbeard Seasonings. We're going to continue our process here to get this turkey smoked today. If you recall in the first part of the video, we mixed our brine solution. I brined the turkey for about 20 hours. So we're going to continue on with the process here. We've got our turkey here. I've drained the brine mixture off. The next step is going to be to rinse it off with some cold water, and then we'll get it patted dry for our injection and dry rub. Alright, so I've got the bird all rinsed off with some cold water here. Next thing we're going to do is take some paper towels and we're going to pat the outside of it dry. Once we've got that done, I'm going to take some spray olive oil. You can use duck oil, olive oil, regular cooking spray oil. I'm going to give the outside a nice dusting of that. You don't want to put too much. Then we're going to mix up our injection mixture. So for that, I've got a stick of butter that I melted down here. I'm going to add to that 8 ounces of chicken stock. And then 1 tablespoon of garlic powder. We'll mix that up here. Okay. So when we got that mixed up, key is when injecting is you don't want to over inject. With turkeys, you want to hit the breast about 3 times on each side. Once down low, one at about 90 degrees, and one up top. So 3 spots in each of the breasts. And then you can hit the thighs, one on the front side, one on the bottom side, twice on each thigh. You don't have to inject the wings. There's not enough meat there to worry about it. Main thing is the breasts and the thighs. So we'll hit the breast here. When you're injecting, you want to go in as far as the center of the area that you're injecting. So you don't have to go in too deep. And I'm putting in probably 2 ounces of liquid per injection here. You'll see the skin start to swell up a little bit. Once we've got the injection done, I'm going to stuff the turkey here with about 4 stalks of celery, 4 stalks of celery, 2 halved apples, 1 red onion, 1 yellow onion. So I've got both the onions, 1 1/2 of the apples, and about 2 1/2, 3 stalks of celery that fit in here. This is a 13 pounder, so give or take depending on what size turkey you have here. Next step, I'm going to change my gloves here real quick. Next step is going to be our dry rub. For our dry rub, we're going to take just a little bit of salt, about a half a tablespoon, I'm sorry. I'm going to take 1 teaspoon of thyme, 1 teaspoon of coriander, about a teaspoon of garlic, and then 1 teaspoon of coarse ground black pepper, 1 teaspoon of paprika, and about a tablespoon of brown sugar. The reason that I use this mixture for turkey is you've got a mix of your earthy tones with the rosemary, the coriander, and then you've got your base ingredients for most seasonings, salt, pepper, garlic, and then a little bit of paprika for some color. So we're going to take this and lightly apply it. You don't have to put too much on when you're doing the turkey. You just want to give it a nice light coating. It'll give it a little bit of a flavor profile, and at the same time build a little bit of color into that skin. Next thing we're going to do is take a piece of butcher's twine, and I'm going to take the center of it. This piece is about 3 feet long. You're going to tuck the front of it under where the neck connects, and then go around the outside of the wings, come across the thighs, and crisscross it, and then you'll wrap around the outside of the legs, and tie it off. That's going to just kind of hold everything in place. So when the turkey's cooking in the smoker, it's going to cook everything easily, and your bird's not going to just fall apart. Now we're going to take her out and get her on the smoker. Alright, so we're going to cook this at 275 degrees. 13 pounder, you want to figure about a half an hour per pound, roughly. Obviously, we always want to cook to temperature, not time, but we'll keep an eye on that. I'm going to smoke this with apple wood today, and this should be anywhere between a 6 and 7 hour process. We'll check back here soon, and we'll go over what temps you'll be looking for. At about 4 hours in, got a temp of 132 in the breast, so we got about another 30 degrees more to go. Starting to get a little bit of color to her. You can't really see very well, but the back side, because it's against the back wall of the smoker, is getting a little bit darker. So I'm going to rotate the turkey 180 degrees in the smoker to give it a nice even cook, a nice even color. Also going to spritz with some of the chicken stock I've got in the water pan, and we'll check back in later. I've got my color where I want it. I don't want the outside to get burnt, so I'm going to tent this with some foil. Video this. Just going to take a large piece of foil. And loosely wrap that. Not even really wrapping it, just putting it over top so that it doesn't continue to cook. Also, about every 2 hours I've been basting the outside with a mixture of butter and chicken stock there, just giving it a nice light coat. That's going to help the skin get nice and crispy. It's going to keep flavor, keep moisture on the bird, in addition to the injection that we did with the garlic butter and the chicken stock. So about 140 on the internal and the breast, shooting for 165 in the breast, 175 in the thigh. So once it hits about 160, I'll probably pull it, let it rest in the oven. With the oven off, it's going to continue to cook for a little bit and should be about perfect. So we'll check back here in a little bit.